So first of all, I want to welcome you to this very first training that I'm actually doing for the team in Cameroon. La première formation qu'on fait, en fait, la formation d'aujourd'hui, the training today will be in English, okay? I am aware that Cameroon is French and English, but for the sake of time and for the sake of keeping the presentation and trainings in a professional manner, I think it will serve you well if you do one language. I know that we're going to be doing a French training. I believe it will be on Friday. I don't have the details. It will be hosted by Lucie Caron, where she is here today. Thank you, Lucie, for joining in. And as you know, Lucie speaks extremely, very nice, elegant French, which I cannot measure, but I can certainly keep up. And at the end of the day, what we want to do here is we want to walk you through how to do an effective presentation. But before we begin doing that, let me just lift my table a little bit here. Before we begin doing this, I think what's important is to give you some guidelines on where to access information. Le fait, si je donne un petit peu de français pour certains d'entre vous qui sont francophones, je vais juste confirmer, est-ce qu'il y a des francophones ici qui ne comprennent pas l'anglais du tout? Si c'est le cas, simplement dans le chat, de mettre le numéro 1 si vous ne comprenez pas l'anglais du tout. So what I shared here in French is if you happen to be French in this group and you do not understand English at all, to put 1 in the chat. I just want to confirm to make sure that if you are French here, that you are properly oriented so we can give you the right expectation. Okay, so I gather that everybody here speaks in English. The other thing I wanted to confirm is can everybody hear me clearly? If you hear me clearly on the chat, just type in the number 2 in the chat section. Simply type in the number 2 on your keyboard. And excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And participation is a big part of learning, folks. So the more you participate, the more you will absorb. And I'm doing it for a reason. So thank you for all of you who actually participated. I know right now, and if you also feel free to share what we call the reaction button, feel free to use that just as I'm using right now, like I'm showing you my thumbs up. Okay, so you can use that. If you have a question and you need for me to address something, feel free to raise your hand, just like I did right here. Okay, raise your hand. And I'm talking by using the reaction button. So I'm just giving you a little bit of protocol here to help us go further. Okay, so if you raise your hand, I'm assuming that you have a question for me. So, Sir Chi, I believe that you raised your hand to confirm that it's working. If you have a question, just raise it again. I will make sure I will address it. Okay, perfect. Okay. Beryl, you have a question, so feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the question. Just so you know, everybody can unmute themselves if they want to. Okay, so I'll assume that, Beryl, you were just testing the button and you don't have a question. So I'm going to lower the hand because for me, when I see a hand up like this, like the way I'm showing that I'm showing right now, that means you have a question. I will pause and we'll make sure your question is addressed. Okay, so just be mindful of that. It's also good to have thumbs up, hearts. Let me know, let the trainers know that they're doing a good job, they're sharing good information, you're relating to the information. It's one thing that's very important, especially because we're not physically in contact, face-to-face communicating. These interaction buttons helps us getting a little bit closer and to connect a little more. Okay, so that's why I often ask you to participate if it's possible. It really, really helps on for the trainer and to get a feel for where you stand. Now, the call is recorded, okay? And what I will do is I will make this call available on theactiveteamtraining.com. And let me just share my screen so I can give you a bit of orientation, because for me to give you a training, it's wonderful, but what's even better is for you to find out the information for yourself. You don't need to depend on any one of us to be able to find what you're looking for. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to share my screen. And as soon as I do this, I want to confirm that everybody sees my screen. So if you are seeing my screen, can you please give me a thumbs up, which is from the reaction button, or simply press 5 on the chat. If you can press in 5 on the chat to give me, or give me a thumbs up, confirm that you're able to see my screen. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And again, you'll get used to me. You'll get used to the tools. And this is what is so important here. Okay, if you've been around the Eric Worre events, and maybe some of you have been, trust me, you get really well trained on these kind of tools. Now, one of the things that I want to share with you here is this is our team website. Okay. And on our team website, we have the Spanish, and French. If you select French, then obviously everything that you will see will be translated in French, okay? And all the details are there, but for the sake of this discussion, we're gonna go back to English because it's an English training that we're doing this evening for you. Now, I wanna show you some information that's very important, okay? And one of the most important aspects is documents, okay? If you click on documents, it will open, and I'll show you on the cell phone in a minute, so you can see, you can do the same thing. There's a whole bunch of subdirectories over here. So for example, if you have some prospects, for example, in Canada, and you're looking for Canadian tools, the Canadian PowerPoint, the Canadian details, you can access it from here, okay? And we have access to all the subdirectory, which would be in English and French, because in North America, especially Canada, French and English are the two international language. And so you can choose the language of preference. If you select English, and you select, for example, the IMAX International presentations, you can see here that we have all the details, okay? So that would be the presentation 2022, and we have the actual presentation here, and we also have a script. I'll come back to that in a minute once on my cell phone, because if you want to do an effective presentation, I recommend to learn the script to get used to the language. You can do this in English, and you can do this in French. I'll show you where you can access both. And the fact is, once you are familiar with the content of the presentation, so you don't make up stories and you don't make up, you don't oversell what the product does, because their products are absolutely amazing. You do not need to oversell it ever. But the key is to always stay honest and stay truthful and making sure the information is accurate. And the PowerPoint script is designed to help you with that. But understand that most people don't like to listen to someone reading a script. People like to listen to someone who's actually voicing their own comments and their own voices, but following the logic and the content that's in the script. Okay, so we'll walk through to all of this stuff, and this call is recorded, so you can listen to it over and over and over again, because I'm sharing information, folks, here today, and there's going to be a lot of content, and you may find some things are going a little bit fast. But I'm also aware that you can go back, you can pause the video, and you can start trying these things and come back and play it again, and you can replay it as you see fit. Okay, if this makes sense, everybody, give me a 10 if this makes sense. Just put in a 10 in the chat for me to understand we're on the same page and what I'm sharing with you makes a lot of sense. Okay, just put a 10 on the chat. Beautiful. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. And again, I really hope that all of you will participate. And I know some of you may try to look for the commands where you put your chat. You might be on your cell phone. All of this will come into play. So if you know how to actually share information, post comments, be able to share comments to the chat, go ahead and do that. If you don't know, don't worry about it. We'll figure all this out. Okay, so let me go back here to the website. Okay, so again, this training is to remind you it is how to do an effective presentation. But before we do that, I like to align everybody so they can access all the data online. Now, I'm showing you the website here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift over my cell phone. Okay, so I'm going to share my cell phone with you. Okay. And the reason why I want to do this is I want to be as practical as possible with everybody. So right now, sorry, I'm going to wear my glasses for a minute. Okay. So what happens here is I have an Apple phone. It doesn't matter if you have an Apple phone. It doesn't matter if you have a Samsung phone. All of that is fine. Okay. So Mirabel, I notice you have a question. So bear with me one moment. I'll come back to you. So one of the things that I would like for you to do is I would like for you to go on your cell phone. Feel free to do this in real time, or you can do it, after you record the call. I mean, after you listen to the recorded call. I will put the link in the chat where we're communicating the presenter page. So this is the same website I was telling you about earlier, but it's on the cell phone. Okay. So what you're seeing here is exactly what is displayed on my cell phone. And the one thing I want to point out is there's 3 dots here at the top that I was pointing here. You notice that I was showing you the document directory. You can find it over here. And the same thing will happen. It will actually bring you to this subdirectory. And you can see here, for example, Africa is over here. You would select English. And these are the official markets that are open right now. Okay, very soon we'll add Cameroon in there. So not to be concerned about any of this stuff. Okay, so these are some of the French markets that we have over here. And again, it doesn't mean that all these markets are open. What it means is we have content trainings to help the markets that are kind of on the pre-launch, that are getting ready. And that's what it is here. Okay. And again, if you happen to be looking for North American contacts, you would select Canada, USA. Okay. So I just wanted to point this out. So these are the 3 dots over here. Now, here's what I would like for you to focus on. This is what Tammy and I are doing right now. Okay, Meraba, you don't have a question? Okay, thank you. Just feel free to put your hand down. There's a button you can press to put your hand down, and that way it'll come down. Okay. Otherwise, I can do that for you. Just one moment here. Okay, you got it. Beautiful. This is good training, guys. We're utilizing the tools. Okay, so right now, what I want you to do, you can do this in real time again, or you can do this on the recording when you listen to it again, is if you go down the page, okay, there's a button here that's called Join ATD Board. Okay, and understand that you can also get the same thing in French, right? If you turn around and you select the language here, you can select French if you want. Okay, just for the sake of time, I'm going to continue in English over here, but I want you to understand that we have everything in English, in French, and in Espanol, in Spanish. Okay, now let me go back, and you'll notice here where it says keeping up with active team group pin board. I'd like you to install that app by clicking this button. What will happen, it will prompt you for your email. So when you put your email there, often your email will show right over here, and you just touch it, and then you join the board. Okay. And most likely, if you've never used that app before, you don't have that app installed. So when you say open board, it's most likely going to ask you, do you want to download it from either the App Store or the Google Play? Whatever that is, you just select it. If you just select the Google Play, you simply install it. If you happen to do the Apple Store, then you just download it. Okay. Once it's downloaded, it will open the board. Okay. And then this one at the top over here, the active team group, this is the board that you're looking for. So this is the one that you will see. You click on that, and you will notice that you have the English button, the French button, and a Spanish button. Okay. So for the sake of discussion right now, we're going to go to English. And here's something I recommend every single one of you to go through. Okay, even though you've been in Max for a while, regardless, you need to familiarize yourself with what we do to onboard a new associate. If you're familiar with the context, then you can duplicate the same thing, because it's wonderful to do a presentation, but once you present the information to someone that's ready to start, then what? This is the reason why I'm walking you through the process here, how you onboard someone who decides, yes, I'm on board. Okay. Then when you click on the onboarding, and understand, I want to go back a bit here. Some of you may say, there's a lot of information here. You know what I mean? It's like when you're looking for a word, definition of a word, what do? You go through a dictionary. You open a dictionary. You don't turn around and say, oh my God, there's so many words in that book, I don't know where to begin. No, you go through the index. That's what this is. It's an index. Okay. And you just stay in the context of what you're looking for. So in this case, even though there's a lot of information there, dismiss all of that for now and focus on onboarding right over here. So I'm going to click this button, And understand, just for the sake of this discussion here, I'm going to go to French. Same thing, embarquement. Okay. And we maintain all the languages. Every time we add something in English, we also work on French. Now, I'll admit that some things in French might be pointing to some English content, even though it has a French title. Now, this is something that we're working on. We'll keep modifying on a regular basis. Now, let me go back to the English. So we go to onboarding and you go to first step. Now, this is what you should know. That's it. When someone starts, you don't want to learn how to dissect the products and how to explain the science of the products and how to explain the science on what's going on underneath the hood and why is this car running? How is it running? Is there a piston in there? How does that work? Does you need gasoline? What does it get? You don't need those kind of details, right? If you buy a car, you put the key in the ignition, you press the button, well, depending on the year of your car, and then you just start and drive it. So this is kind of the same concept here when you build your business. You don't need to know the science. You don't need to understand the mechanic of how the comp plan works from A to Z. What you need to understand is what do you need to do to earn an income tomorrow, to earn an income next week. And this information over here will help you kind of keep you in line and understanding some of the details that are important, making your lists, welcome message, the assignments, crucial conversation, right? Simple things. Getting started kit. Some of you may not be aware of this, and we also have that in French. I'm going to show you the English right now. And right now you have a nice booklet, right? And what's really nice is people can take advantage of the wonderful information, which you can also share with anybody you choose. Okay. So this is what's really, really interesting. For example, if you want to send that link to someone to download the book, obviously, different phones will have different buttons on the top over here. That happens to be the Apple phone. I know that you may have a different icon for a different kind of operating system based on the phone you use. The point here is I can turn around, for example, okay, I'm going to turn around and send a message in the presenter group. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. This is, excuse me. Oh, sorry, on my phone. I was typing. This is a test. Okay. And then I send. Okay. So every one of you here probably noticed that link has been shared into the group. So if I go back to my WhatsApp message and I check the presenter, bada boom, bada bing, here it is. Okay. So I just wanted to show you how simple it is to share information with a prospect. And remember, if I'm going fast, don't worry. You can pause the video and listen to it again. I will make that recording available to you. So let me go back to the board. So this is the very first step. The first one, the next one over here is how to reach your core rank, right? And we'll talk about that in a presentation in a minute. But your core rank is explained over here with a system for you to follow. And you can also reference the actual max action plan that is referenced in this particular training. Okay. So it's all there. So there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of tools available. And what's very important, if you want to have success in presenting your opportunity, you need to make sure that you have a plan and you know exactly what you're doing and you know exactly what you're executing. And the person that you're presenting to knows exactly what they're getting into and what they need to do. That's the reason why I'm walking you through all of this before we start the presentation training itself. Step number 2 is your daily method of operation. You know, one of the greatest assets that Tammy and I have, and by the way, Tammy apologized. She wanted to be part of this group, but we have some conflicting events going on at the same time. So she's kind of handling other things at the same time as I'm helping you here with this training. But you see over here, it starts with getting started right. Okay. And you have all the details there. Remember, we have the same thing in French. Okay. And it just kind of gives you some guidelines on helping you becoming an effective entrepreneur. Because very often people get involved in network marketing. They have absolutely no experience in being in business, but they want all the results, but zero experience. And we're trying to give you all the guidelines here to help you get the best possible results. This is the second step that we suggest for you to follow. The follow-up here is very important. There's also another training over here. where you can actually listen to on the follow-up process. Okay. So this is, again, the guidelines that I want to walk you through. Now, something that I wanted to point out, if you're looking for the presentation, right now in Cameroon, we're not officially operating as of yet. So that means that the actual amount of your currency based on US dollars for cost of products and the commissions and everything else, I don't know if these details are out yet. So what's very important is to keep things very simple, incongruent, and consistent. If you're looking to download the PowerPoint, all you need to do is you go under Tools, and you notice here where it says Max Opportunity Presentation USD. I recommend at the moment you do a USD presentation. Keep that simple, because if you start converting the USD into your currency, and the numbers may be different once we're officially operating in Cameroon, I think that some people may not be very pleased, okay? So unless Wisdom has some more information for me, at the moment right now, I don't know what the conversion rate will be for doing business in Cameroon. So I recommend when you present to keep things in US dollars, okay? But here's what's very exciting. I want to show you something. Okay. So for example, if I download this presentation over here, okay, continue to the website. Okay. Okay, so if I download this presentation is exactly the same in every single countries in the world. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay. For example, if you go all the way to the bottom here, we just have recently a Kenya launch. And if you look at the Kenya presentation, okay, format details, max ID details for Kenya Commission, banner, office details. Okay, it's, is it here yet? Okay, let me go back to the Active Team website. So I'm going to go back to the Active Team website. Okay, so let's go back here on the Active Team website, and you go under Documents. Okay. Now, for example, if I look at Canada, USA, English, presentation, okay, you look at the opportunity here. Here's the presentation, okay? If you look at the slides, I'm going to go slowly here. Okay, if you look at the slides on my cell phone, these slides are identical in every markets. The only one that will be different, let me go a little faster here. I'm going to show you where we start showing the numbers. Okay, is, for example, when we're dealing with the US dollar, you will see the US funds. Okay. So if I go back and let me select another directory, and let me go to Africa, English. Let's select Kenya for the sake of discussion. Let's go on presentation. And here's the presentation over here. Okay. So you can see I was doing the same thing here. And it's basically the currency in keys, but it's the exact same presentation. Everything is the same. Okay. The only thing that may vary is some countries may not have certain products approved yet, but I believe in Cameroon, everything is approved. The fact is the amount of the products that will show might be different, but it's exactly the same presentation. So the reason I'm spending time walking you through all of this is so you know where to access. If you look at Nigeria, right? You look at Nigeria, we're looking at the presentation, same thing, 2022. And here we are, presentation, and it's going to come up. And here we are, exactly the same stuff. I'm showing this to you because this is how we're training all our teams around the world to be consistent and congruent in delivering the exact same message. Okay. So this is the US version that they have over here. And let's see here. Presentation. Okay, USD. Okay, so where is it showing the US? I'm going to verify that because it should be the Nigerian presentation format over here. I will verify that. So Ghana, same thing. The max presentation. Go back over here. Okay, we have the US here. Okay, so I'm going to have to verify the details. At the end of the day, we're all dealing with the exact same presentation. The only thing that is different, it will be the currency. Okay. And if you want to have success in this endeavor, the key is to be consistent and congruent. I cannot stress this enough. That is the key. Now, do we have any questions or comments over here? So now I'm gonna shift into the presentation format. So the point here that I really recommend for you to do is install that app. If you do not have that app, I'm telling you, you're missing out. Okay. Every single thing that we have, let me rephrase that. This is our ecosystem. Everything that we do, everything that we train, everything that we share is contained within this app. Okay. This is the future. And everything you need is available over here. Everything you need. So I hope you're going to take the time to go through the onboarding process. And I also recommend for you to download the North American presentation. And again, the reason for that is because you don't want to mislead the people as you're presenting by showing wrong numbers. Okay. Until someone tells me that we have an actual currency converter that's been defined for Cameroon, I suggest that you use the USD dollars. Okay. If you have any questions on that or comments, please do let me know. Okay. So right now I'm going to start sharing my phone and I'm going to start sharing the actual presentation. Okay. Now, so far, what I shared with you, does that make sense? If that makes sense, go ahead and put a 7 in the chat. If this makes sense, let's put a 7 in the chat, everybody. Just want to make sure that everybody is following what I'm sharing. Okay. Mirabel, you have a question? Or maybe you just raise your hand as you were answering. Okay. Thank you, Beryl. Perfect. Eric, thank you. Okay. And the reason I'm asking you to participate, folks, I want to make sure you're not falling asleep on me. I want to make sure that you're not like leaving the computer on and you're walking around doing the dishes or something else. Okay, beautiful. Okay. If you have a question, again, I want you to raise your hand and just go ahead, unmute yourself and just post the question, please. Go ahead. Okay, Lucy, I believe you mentioned that Gidon has a question. Please go ahead. Go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the question.
Okay, thank you so much for the amazing presentation, sir.
Thank you.
I wanted to find out if one could have more than one board on a single phone.
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay, thank you.
As a matter of fact, you probably noticed I had a few boards on my phone. You certainly can. You can have multiple boards, and that's not a problem. The one thing that I encourage people is if you start creating your own stuff, you are disconnecting yourself from the source and then you're creating division. So just be careful that you may want to have your own stuff for your personal things. That's not a problem. But I highly recommend that you stay connected within the main source. Otherwise, division for me shows it reflects in poverty. So just make sure that we unite, especially in 2022. The future is to unite, not to divide. So just keep that in mind. So thank you for your question. Okay. So far we're good. Okay, excellent. So let's move forward. So let me go ahead and share the actual presentation. One moment. Okay. Screen number 3. Here we are. Okay, I just like to always confirm that everybody can see the screen. If you're able to see the screen, give me a thumbs up. Just type in number 3 on the chat. Type in number 3 on the chat or give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Excellent. Okay. Okay. She done perfect. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. You guys are learning fast. I love it. I see some great potential here. You know, I can tell the kind of leadership we have. And based on the leadership that I see, I can tell the kind of income you're going to make based on your response time and based on your participation. So congratulations. I'm seeing some great potential here. Well done. Been doing this for a long time, folks. I'm doing this for a reason. So listen, what I would like to do now is walk you through the presentation format. I'm not going to present here. What I'm going to give you is some guidelines, okay? And the one thing that's very, very important, I want to do one more thing over here. I want to, let's see here. I'm going to go under resource, under document, and I want to go get the actual script. So let me go back to Canada, USA, for example, English, and just bear with me here. Internet's a bit slow today. Okay, presentation and 2022. And here's a script right here. Okay, so you noticed here, each slide has a script at the bottom, okay? And those of you that really learn that script, you're going to be so much more effective when you're presenting. Okay, this is your homework for today. This is your call to action, is read that script at least 2 to 3 times a day from top to bottom. As you can see, there's not that much wording here. It's not that much to do, okay? And the thing is, the reason I want you to read it, okay, we're doing here up to slide 39, okay? The reason I want you to be familiar with these slides is because I want you to absorb the wording that's been used to make sure that when you are presenting, you're staying in the context. This presentation, if it's done professionally and if it's done well, could be done in less than 25 minutes. And of course, after that, you will add the testimonials. Okay. When you get a presentation that goes all the way up to 90 minutes, that's because there has been an awful lot of more data that was provided that's necessary. And there's only so much information that a user can sit down and listen to. Even though they listen for half an hour or for 90 minutes, right? They may have a 20-minute attention span. So especially if you're presenting virtual online, generally you want to keep things within 30 minutes. That's the reason why we have this format. Now, if you're doing an event at the office, I suggest an hour. It's possible you may go a little over, and that's okay. But the more you practice and the more efficient you become in presenting by understanding what you're presenting, and you don't have to make things up, you're going to speed up the process. And if you want to have a prosperous country in building your Max business, you want to have a professional front. Anything that lasts too long, your guests will go home and says, oh my God, this took so long. I don't know if I can invite someone else to this. It's just too long. Because remember, they were there first. They waited before the event start. And then the event start. And it goes on 90 minutes. And some will go even longer than that. So in my experience, if you want a very effective presentation, you want to be to the point. One of the comments we had when we were in Kenya is when we spoke to people, and I was hearing, others talking, and one of the most common message that I got is, I really like the fact that presentation was to the point, and it was done very clearly, and it was not too long. And when people feel this way, they're excited to come back, but not to come back alone, but to come back with other people. And that's what our business is all about. And often when we present, especially new in presenting, we're excited, we're a little bit nervous, and we want to dump everything we know to impress our prospects. You might impress some, but in the long run, what's going to happen is people are going to be overloaded with information. I'm spending some time here because I'm talking from experience. So make sure, all this to say, download the script and get familiar with the actual script itself. And then you can start adding your own voice to it because you know the script inside out, and then you can share your own personal experience with what it is that you've learned from the presentation. Okay. So I'm just making sure that there is okay, what's the name of the Active Team app on the Google Store? Oh, okay. It's called Boards, B-O-R, like a board, like, like a board. Okay, B-O-R-D-S. Okay. Let me just confirm here. Let me just 1 second. That's a good question. Sorry. Okay. B-O-A-R-D-S. Boards. B-O-A-R-D-S. I think I got it now. Okay. You can search for that. But the reason why I suggest for you to click on the button from Active Team is it will make sure that the Active Team group board is connecting to that app. So feel free to download the app. And by the way, when you download the app, it will prompt you for creating an account. You put your email, your password, and then it's going to ask you, how many people, are you part of a team, or you are leading a team? Just say part of a team. If you have the next question will be is how many people on your team? You say 1 to 10, select that. And the next question it's going to ask you, if I go by memory, is what's your business about? Just put Max International. Okay. And once this is done, you're done. Then it's going to show up and the Active Team group board will appear. And as I showed you, when you touch it, it will actually appear on your screen and you'll see the 3 buttons. Okay. And if you have any issues with that, feel free to post it in the group that we have, the presenter group, and we'll make sure that everybody has information because we do have some trainings on the boards and everything else. Okay. We've done quite a few of those. Now, so let me go back to the training format. So here's the thing. When you are presenting, if you want to have a very effective presentation, there are some basic rules I highly recommend for you to follow. Number 1, make sure that there are greeters. There are people at the door that are greeting the guests. Make them feel welcome and appreciative for the fact that they took the time to drive, to walk, to take the bus, whatever the situation may be, to come to you to see this presentation. This is as important as the presentation, is how they feel the moment they make contact with someone. So have some greeters at the door. I'm telling you, it's a huge difference, and it's also elevates the quality of your event, of your presentation. Number 2, make sure that there is an MC, a person that will start the introduction. And I understand that sometimes it may not be available. And if it's okay, you can skip it, and that's totally cool. I'm giving you the ultimate best scenario. You can choose what you want to remove, what you want to keep. So when you have an MC, try to find someone that has, that can speak very easily, that can connect with people, make people feel welcome. Give them a quick summary, like this evening or this afternoon, we're going to be sharing 3 different components of the compensation plan. We're going to share with you a little bit about our science. We're going to share with you our wonderful products. And of course, we're going to share with you this amazing business venture, the opportunity that can completely change your life, which for a fact, I have seen many lives change by that, right? So something like this. So the presentation should be more than 60 minutes. So give people exactly what they should be expecting. And of course, when you present, you want to maintain that time frame. Really important. Okay. Very important that you don't want to undersell. What I mean by that is by telling people presentation will be 60 minutes and 2 hours later, we're just finishing up. Okay. So I'm talking from experience there. So these are things, it's all part of the meeting etiquettes that really elevate the quality of your presentation. I have trained so many people around the world in doing exactly what I'm sharing with you. And those of you that are following these guidelines, you are going to do so well. So well. Okay. Once the presentation is finished, and I'll walk you through some of the elements here, but once the presentation is finished, thank everybody for being here and make sure that there is a call to action, right? Don't just let people leave and wander around and say, okay, what do I do next? That is the last thing you want to do. Your business will slip right through your fingers. So once the presentation is done, you want to have application printout. I know that most offices are very, very generous with their papers, okay? But be mindful of that. Don't abuse of the company's generosity. This is so important. In fact, in Canada, nobody brings papers. The associate who invite the guests have their own application in their wallets or their bags. They don't expect someone else to do the work for them. But I know in Africa, it's a bit of a different environment, and that's totally cool. But again, I'm telling you, what are the secrets of the millionaires in this business? They are prepared. They have all the tools. They are ready to engage, and they are ready to provide the information immediately to the prospect. So one thing I recommend is once the presentation is completed, you want to, I suggest to sit like in circles. For example, let's say that there is 4 or 5 or 10 different leaders who invited guests. There should be 10 little groups in circles, which I recommend you have the leader somewhere and in a center, and you create a bit of a circle with all the guests around to answer the questions, the Q&As. Really, really, really important. Because once the testimonials have been shared with the information that was provided with the elegant presentation that you just conducted, often people are ready to go. Now, the money may come out, may be a bit of a problem at the beginning, but for some, it may not be. But the main thing is it worth my money? Is it worth my time? And that's why the meeting after the meeting is critical. Okay. So now that I've given you kind of the overview of the meeting etiquettes, which the greeters, the MC, and of course, I didn't mention the presenters. I suggest at least 2 presenters. If not, that's okay. If there's only one presenter, there's only one presenter. But it's nice to have 2 people presenting. Some of you may choose to say, well, I'd like to have that presenter to do the first part of the slides all the way up to the opportunity or all the way up to the product. And then you do the products and then you do the opportunity. Maybe you may have 3 people. It's entirely up to you. But make sure that you prepare yourself prior to the meeting to understand who's doing what. Those of you who do that, I assure you, you will see a lot of high pin ranks that are going to move up very quickly by having a lot of people qualifying, because there's an organization and there's a good system and there's a good follow through with the process from the beginning to the end. If that makes sense, everybody, give me a thumbs up. Just want to make sure everybody's okay and nobody's falling asleep on me here, because I'm seeing very few videos. So beautiful. Excellent. Thank you for participating. Excellent. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, good. So this is the protocol that we're using. Now, when we're presenting right now, you see the slide over here, which is the Max International. Okay, this is really the part where you introduce yourself. That could be the MC, right? Decide that. It could be the MC that starts and then introduce the first 2 speakers. Okay, and then you can go, for example, one speaker could do one slide and the other speaker could do the next slide. So you go back and forth, or you can have one of the speakers do all the first slides. Some people don't like to shift, back and forth because they feel that sometimes it kind of gets them off their groove, and that's totally cool. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. It doesn't matter as long as you are effective and you're comfortable sharing. And it's okay to make mistakes, folks. Okay, don't let get in your way. So whatever you choose is the MC would start over here. We introduce the 2 speakers, kind of welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. And at this point, the very first speaker, and if you saw the slide, you know exactly what should be shared over here. That's why I suggested you do your homework. Okay. And then we have this slide over here, which is very welcoming, which is our mission. Okay. So again, this is where you can have your passion and the vision for Max International. Again, following the script, and you can add some of your words, but keep in mind, you want to stay within the time frame. Remember, we're looking here. There are how many slides? There is 39 slides. If you go 5 minutes per slide, do the math, right? So some slide might be a second, a couple seconds. Some slide might be a little longer, depending. But you want to have an average of about, I would say, no more than 45 minutes for this entire presentation. And the rest is the testimonies. Okay. And of course, the testimonies also requires a little bit of training to make sure that people don't hold the mic for 7 minutes and 12 minutes and 15 minutes and go on and repeating the story in 20 different times, repeated in different ways, right? So all of that comes with training. Okay, so, and then from there you go to the next slide. And what's also very interesting is the script is also right here. Okay, inside. So you can also look at the slide and the script matches over here. Whatever you saw earlier, it's right over here to give you, again, a guideline. So sometime you may have multiple screen and you may have to display one of the screen. And, again, these are things that you may choose to do. I know often when I'm presenting online, I have a speaker view, right? So what happens is a speaker view will actually show the script. And on the other screen, I have this over here, full screen. And that's what I'm going to be sharing on my Zoom if I'm doing a virtual presentation. So the script is in front of me, and I use the script as a guideline to make sure that I stay in the context. Now, I've done it so many times, I don't really need to read the script, but it's there for you. Okay. And of course, here we're touching on the health and, talking about some of the unfortunate situation when it comes to our environment and so forth. And then we get into a little bit of our science, right? And you don't want to get too complicated. You don't want to be too sciencey, because if you are, remember, the person listening has to be able to go eventually up front and share. Okay, that's the goal. The goal at the beginning is for you to step down and get your downline to step up and do the presentation. If you're the only one who presents all the time because nobody can do what you do, again, that will be a challenge for you to grow your business. These are red flags. These are signs that your business will not grow as fast as you would want it to be, because you're always the person that handles everything. Okay. So you want to stay within the script and you want to learn, you want to make sure that your team understand. I'm not going to go through the presentation here, but obviously now we're getting a little bit on the science. We're talking on the glutathione aspect of things. And again, here, there's nothing to say, right? I see sometimes people will turn around and we'll speak about 3-4 minutes on the slide that really is, what is glutathione? And it's more about your expression and your passion and the way you pose the question. Well, folks, what is glutathione? And then you move on to the next slide. And you see, you don't need that much information, right? It just kind of gives you a little bit of understanding of what the glutathione is all about, how it functions in the body, so people can actually measure the value of our products. And then you talk about the benefits. It's like when you buy a car, most people don't really care exactly how the motor is running. You want to make sure the motor is reliable, but what are the benefits of that car? Well, it strengthens the immune system and reduces the inflammation. It slows down the aging process. Oh, that gets people like, oh, okay, now you got my attention, right? Promote energy, enhance sleep, improve mental function, improve performance. And you go on. But here's the downside with glutathione, is that it decreases with time. As we age, unfortunately, our glutathione decreases. And look at this number over here. The black line over here, it's what we call oxidative stress. And look when it starts at the age of 40. To be honest with you now, I think it's more like 35, 36. All right, because we're living in a very toxic world today, right? People, these studies were done quite about at least a decade ago. So what's happening here, but it's still within the context. But look what happened. Do you find that interesting, where when you pass the age of 55, you're reaching within the 60 age, like 55, 56? This is when the line crosses. And it's not interesting, because that's where most people become a lot more friendlier with their doctors, because they're seeing their doctors more often, because there are issues that are arising. See, our goal is to keep this line so they never cross, or if they do cross, they cross on a much, much, much later date. You understand? So that cross could happen quite later, based on the fact that the free radicals is lower and the glutathione is higher. Are you with me? So it's the passion and the conviction that you have that will get people to want to look at the information that you are presenting. And of course, the cause of low glutathione, it's over here. And there's so many conditions that are associated with low glutathione. But hey, folks, we got some amazing research. And this is what Max International has to offer. We have just amazing science, not just anecdotal stories with science that are, we're not sure about the science, but hey, we can make money. No. We're talking some extremely credible scientific findings with very interesting anecdotal stories. They match. This is rare that you see a network marketing company that has that kind of credibility in science, but also the credibility when it comes to the anecdotal stories. They match. This is amazing. And here's our patent. This is what we have. This is a precursor ribosine, right? And if you look at the app, we have some amazing tools to elevate the value of what ribosine is all about, right? If you're looking for medical practitioners, I'm telling you, there's a link that I love to send. And if you're interested for me to show you what I would send, just let me know at the end of this presentation and I'll show you exactly what I do. But the fact here is this is the key. And then we introduce this gentleman, Dr. Herb T. Nagasawa, who has been researching this, who has an incredible story about his brother, who was dealing with a lot of challenges when he came from the war and all the things that happened, and the alcoholism that was the big problem, and the role that increasing glutathione has done to actually help people that are dealing with the issue with alcoholism. So at the end of the day, when people say to me, and I saw a few comments today, oh no, that was the Kenya page, sorry. They were asking about some kind of inflammation issue that had to do with numbing. I forgot exactly what the question was. Understand one thing as I'm sharing this with you. Our product do not diagnose, do not cure any disease known to humanity. But here's what they do. They elevate the molecule in the body to raise the most important antioxidant that exists inside our cells. It's that simple. And when you elevate this glutathione inside your cells, guess what? It reduces inflammation. And when the inflammation is reduced, folks, that's when the body does its best and it heals. So it's not that it heals the disease. The disease was named by some pharmaceutical company who made some wonderful money by sharing, selling. And again, no disrespect meant here, because I'm very, very grateful for penicillin, and I'm grateful for the findings that are out there. But we know today that there is a little bit of an abuse by overselling pharmaceuticals for the shareholders. The reality here is the body can do amazing things if you feed it the right information, if you understand what I mean, the right nutrients. That's what this man has created. You see my passion? That's what I want you to develop. And this passion comes in because I've been living through the testimonies of associates for years from all over the world. And then you walk people through the products. And what's really important here is the certification. Remember that, I happen to be a Catholic, right, from Christianity, but some people are within the Muslim community. We're brothers. We need to respect each other. Very important. And that's why we have Halal approved, and also BSCG, Banned Substance Control Group, which are recognized by the professional athletes, by some of the most sophisticated organization. They understand what this means. That means that the products are safe and they're very high quality, very high grade raw ingredients. That's what it's here. And then you start talking about the wonderful products and the benefits. I'm not going to walk through them right now, because obviously, it's on the script and many of you are quite aware of this. But when I get to this slide, this is what I say. I don't silly do the testimonials in the middle of my presentation. Do you know why? Because let's face it, some people are new, they're nervous, and they may go on and on and on and on and on and sharing their story. It could be a very compelling story, but a presentation that should last 45 minutes becomes an hour, 30 minutes, because the stories were quite long and it might be 2 or 3 people speaking. So I like to do that at the end, so we have a sense of closure for the guests that are listening in on the opportunity. So for me, when I come here, I say to people, folks, we have thousands of testimonials. You can find them on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. Folks, we have them all from all over the world. In fact, we have so many on that board app. So from there, I move on. So I don't do the testimony, but it's entirely up to you. Okay, it's just me personally. I like to have closure on the information that we're sharing with the guests, so we can make the guests feel at ease, the presentation was not too long. And then you finish with the cherry on the cake with the wonderful testimonies. Then I got into the income opportunity. And one of the things that's important here is, excuse me, one moment. Sometimes people are, they're looking for change. What is that significant change that you're looking in your life? We have something wonderful there to share with you here, right? And then if you follow the script, it's all here. And then here's what's important. What do all these companies have in common? Facebook, Uber, Bolt, Airbnb, Expedia, right? Alibaba, which is the version of Amazon. So the fact, what they all have in common, folks, they all have networks, and they all have the internet. That's what's common. This is the future. As a matter of fact, what's very important is that we are a plug-and-play company, right? So here's an example of Max International. And I'm going a little faster with the slides over here because I just want you to understand the logic of these slides so you can listen to this recording, understand the context, and as you follow the script. Here, all you want to do is you want to show the exact same thing. Is Max International is a network. We're not product seller. We are a network of people that are sharing. It just happened that we have some very significant nutraceutical supplement, not pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, natural supplements. And what happens is the associate that is in between, that's bridging the gap between a potential customers or a partner to the company will provide the product, but the associate will be compensated. So people understand this, and this is the network. This is how we work. And at the end of the day, you don't have to explain the comp plan from A to Z. You want to share the big picture and understand that right now we happen to be in US dollars because we're in a pre-launch right now. We're starting the market in Cameroon. We want to make sure that we're honest and straightforward with you here, but this is what we paid in US dollars. Just do the math in your mind. I understand that this could be a little overwhelming for you, but I'm not saying that you're going to earn that. This is one of the maximum that you can earn in one of ways of getting paid. And that way, follow the script. Okay, you don't want to oversell it, but at the same time, you want to understand that this kind of income could be outside of most people's ecosystem. Like, whoa, that's like more money that I can make that I've ever made in 10 years. It depends, right? But the reality is many of us are doing that. How is this possible? Through the network that is increasing. You understand, folks? And the point here that you want to know is that you want people to understand is you earn commission when you start purchasing 2 products, and it's 100 CV. CV stands for commissionable volume. Doesn't matter what currency we pay it in. At the end of the day, you get compensated, and all you need to do is consume your personal consumption, which you can also sell to recuperate your investment to be able to buy next month if, let's say, money is a little bit tight. Okay. And here's what's really exciting. This is like a franchise. Every time you help someone in your team to reach anywhere from 0 to 40,000, what's going on over here, folks? And by the way, when you present, you never go back into slides. I'm just doing this, I'm giving you a training here. You can earn up to 50% of every single person you introduce to Max. This is cumulative. So you want to help your prospect to dream, to understand the possibilities. This is the reason why we started in Ghana. We exploded because they saw the possibilities. Same thing in Nigeria. This is what's going on in Kenya right now. They are seeing the possibilities. And every time you help your team to earn anywhere from 0 all the way up to these big amounts, you have the potential to earn up to 50%. And it goes even beyond that. And I recommend you show up for one of my training, and we'll show you all the details. And if you want, I'll show you where you can get all the training on understanding all of this, how this works. And as you're starting to end the presentation, here's what's very important to share with the team. Now, do I still have everybody with me here? Give me a thumbs up if you're still with me. Make sure you're not falling asleep. I'm not boring you to death. Give me a thumbs up, everybody. Beautiful, beautiful. Francois, merci. Loretta, thank you. I just want to make sure everybody's still with me. Okay. Searchy, very good, very good, very good. Thank you, Lucy. Okay, excellent. So what's happening as we end the presentation, folks? What's going on here is you want to make sure people understand their support. What am I doing for you here right now? I'm here in Daytona Beach, Florida. And next week I'll be in Toronto, Canada, in my second home. And here I am supporting. And it goes way beyond that. There's Lucy in Quebec City also will be supporting. And many of you will be supporting your teams from all over the world. Some of you are going to recruit people back in Canada, back in the United States. Folks, the support is critical. Training, office, team support, online business center. And what's really interesting is when you add benefits, you're joining a network of professionals. Some of you are lawyers, doctors, professionals. You know what I mean? All of that comes into a wonderful environment of knowledge and powerful people sharing their knowledge and experience in all walks of life. So this is why this slide is designed to really share not just the opportunity, but their support to help people go through the process in understanding. How do we get started? Well, it starts anywhere between $150 to about $1,000, depending on how much you want to invest. And often in this analogy, I will tell people, think of a farmer that wants to farm. And this farmer says, you know what? I'm going to invest into my business and I'm going to put 100 lines of seeds. So when it comes time to harvest, I'll be ready. Where someone says, well, you know what? I don't really want to put more than 10 lines of seeds. That's totally cool. Because with the profit you're going to make from the harvesting of your 10 lines, next year or next season, you can turn around and go 25 lines. You understand what I'm saying? So make sure that people don't feel uncomfortable. It's not about who can afford coming the highest. What's important is that people are able to come in and they're able to cultivate and build their businesses. And one thing that's important over here is to understand that your life is a result of decisions of the past. If things are not going the way you want in your life right now, that's okay, because tomorrow is a new day. And the decisions you make today will affect the results tomorrow. And what we present to you here is a wonderful opportunity. An opportunity that is your birthright. It is your birthright to live a good quality of life, healthy and financially sound future. And at the end of the day, folks, here's what it is. We are a company that have a network of people from all over the world. We look forward to do business with you. Make sure you get back with the person that invited you to this presentation this evening, and make sure that all your questions are answered. And at least make sure you buy some of the products from them. Try the products. If you really get started, just find out exactly how to get involved. And all those details are going to be shared by the executive teams in Cameroon and giving you the details, because I believe the products are there and you guys are ready for business. I'm excited for you. Okay. So this is basically in a nutshell, how we conduct a professional presentation. So we went through where to access the data. I hope that you're going to take the time to download this app with the actual group, the board that we created for you, and we constantly adapt it. It's in English, in French, and in Spanish. Okay. So I'd like to pause it here for a moment. And I wanted to confirm if there was any questions, comments. Feel free to unmute yourselves and just go ahead and pose the questions. So I'm just going to pause here for a second. Please go ahead. Okay, just one moment. I'm just getting my chats here.
Hello, Chris.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. And good. I think that should be good afternoon for you there.
Thank you.
I'm Eric, and I'm right here in Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
We have waited, and finally we are getting there. 2 years we've been waiting. And so I understand that things would kick up very soon, but I don't know how soon you think that could be.
Oh, I wish I have all the answers for you. Trust me, if it was up to me, I'd say let's start now. You remember, I'm an associate just like you, and I, we're working hard and getting things done. But I know that the pandemic has slowed the company down by 2.5 years. But I know that we're very close. The best person to address that question would be Wisdom. I know Lucy is in constant communication with Wisdom and also Kofi Alain. Kofi Alain is the person that kind of initiated the markets, which he did a great job in Kenya. Kenya is an example of his product. Cameroon would be the same, in Mexico. So I wish I can give you a straight answer, but I don't have that information. But my recommendation right now, start presenting. Start presenting, get into some excitement, get your team to start presenting, because the moment, because you know that Cameroon is probably the next market that's going to be operating here. We're just around the corner. So I would just make sure that your team is ready.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish I could be more specific, Eric. I apologize for that because I'm not corporate. Now, there was a question, JJ. Yes. Again, if you go to, let me put it in the chat right now. Sorry, guys, I was need my glasses here. I'll put the HTTP. Sorry, HTTP. I'm like the worst typer in the world. Okay. I believe that should work. Let me just confirm. Yes. So you go to activeteamgroup.com, okay? And you simply go down to the center of the page and you select where it says Pinboard, and you just click the actual button and go through the process. I suggest you do that from your cell phone. The board will work on your computer, but it's really designed to be the kind of tool where you can share with everyone within your social environment, all your social media, texting, email, and everything else. So I recommend you do it from your phone and download it there. Okay. If you have any issues with it, I'll be monitoring the group. And keep in mind that there's a few hundred groups that I'm part of. So if I don't respond right away, sometime I may need a bit of a, hey, Chris, I need your attention. But I will be monitoring this for a few days. Yeah, Lucy, I noticed your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
I would like to make the attention to the people that Christian, he uses voice. You know, sometimes he makes some pause, he makes some, it's not monotone. So that's what we need to do to make attention. And I have been studying in andragogy, that is the education for adult, and they always said that the people will remind 10% of what you are going to say. So it's not the time to pass into training form. It's really a presentation, and to put the training in another time. So and also try to talk, to pronounce well, to smile when you do the presentation. It's nice, and we are so happy to introduce this technology to people, and be passionate but relax, be relaxed. So that's what the addiction that I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. That was very, very valid. And I'm glad you brought this up, because you're absolutely correct. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And you said just hit the nail right on the head here. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why Tammy and I have had great results presenting. We're very expressive, but in the same time, take the time, pronounce the words clearly, correctly. This is something I had to work hard at in the days earlier when I didn't speak English. I started speaking English at the age of 23, 22, 23. I'm 56 now. And so it was years of practice. And even in French now, I had to go back and, I have to listen to Lucy for a few minutes to kind of brush up my French. But, and I know Lucy's going to do another training in French for the French speaking associates. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Is there any other questions? So JJ, you're welcome. Okay. Okay, so we can end it on this note. The call is recorded, so I will make sure that this link is available in your group so you can listen to it again. And remember, you don't have to listen to all the blabbing that I did. You can skip through some areas to go to the point that you want to focus on. For example, how to install the board. I talked about that. How to access certain things, how to share certain, a file, within your social media environment. and some of the points that I brought up in reference to how to do a professional presentation, how to conduct it from the greeters at the door to the MC to the presenters, and at the end when you close, and a call to action, and when you finish, having people sitting together and not all leaving, but keep them together. And in some cases, what might be good is to have like a 15-20 minutes onboarding, getting started, right? And I suggest to follow the guidelines that's on the board to make sure there's consistency with everybody you train. The key to success into this business is to be consistent and congruent. That is the ultimate key to success. If you do that, you will do well. Okay, I was about to end, Lucy, but please go ahead.
Yeah, maybe you can talk about the fact that to start on time, because sometimes people are delayed and you wait, and it doesn't honor the people who are there on time. So that's an habit that people say, oh, they always start on time. So they start to come. This is an education to
Yes.
bring, but I would like to have your point of view.
Yeah, I agree. Folks, listen, this is something that, I mean, we see that in the Philippines, we see that in Africa, we see that everywhere, generally. And the key is people are creature of habits. And if you train people to show up early, they will. Because here's the reality. If you have a presentation at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever, 8 o'clock, whatever the time is, you probably noticed in the group that I was telling you 30 minutes prior to presentation, we're about to start. And then 17 minutes there, we're starting very soon. And then 5 minutes, 3 minutes. Why am I doing that? Because I know that people tend to show up late. And I'm trying to train people to be mindful, to be there early. This is something, it doesn't matter what country you're in. There are an international consistency that I've seen among very successful and rich people. The people that are very wealthy value their time, especially if they work hard. And when they show up on time, but a presentation starts 30 minutes to 45 minutes late, it's a huge turnoff for those kind of people. And these are the kind of influencers that you want in your business. And if they're turned off the moment they start, it's not a good start. Are you with me? So what Lucy shared is really important. There are going to be some highly professional individuals that will show up to your meetings. You want to conduct yourself in a highly professional manner if you want to have a highly professional result, and if you want to have the kind of volume that I know you would like to have that will generate some big income. All that begins with starting on time. Go ahead, Lucy.
Another thing to conclude, a long time ago, I've been working 2 years in Cameroon. So Cameroon is very dear to my heart. I would be very happy to work with you, because before I died, I certainly would like to go at least once, huh, John? Am I wisdom? And so it would be, I don't know if somebody is from, I was to Eseka. So I was in at that time, I was working as a midwife at the maternity of Eseka. So I would be happy to go back there at least once.
I'd love to see that, Lucy. Love to see that.
Thank
Certainly
you.
love to visit also. Love to visit. So there's so many countries now. It's becoming very interesting on how many visas we need to get every year. But here's the thing. There's a question by Searchy in reference to how many presents you should do. I recommend at least 3 times a week. Now, I'm not saying the same person. And again, it's okay to do it once a week if that's all you have. But I suggest Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Fridays, it depends. It could be maybe the afternoon for some folks. And maybe there could be one on Sunday after church, maybe like 2 o'clock your time, 3 o'clock your time. This is entirely up to you. Discuss that among yourselves. So it could be 3 to 4 times a week. If you want to have big momentum, more presentation will get you there. So that's kind of the answer to that question, Searchy. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's end on this note. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for what you have done today. I couldn't join early, but I got half of what you said. I will go through the link and then come up with questions. And I've not been taking part in presentation, but I want to intentionally do that now.
Beautiful.
Eric is my leader in Cameroon, and I have a big leader in Kenya. So it is time for me to come out, but I need to go through what you have talked about today and then see how I can gradually come out. I know that
Loretta?
when I do close, when I do
No, I'm sorry, carry on,
closing,
carry on.
when I do closing, it attracts a lot of new people into the business. But I have been avoiding presentation for a very long time, and I can't keep doing it. So I've decided to really go through it and then begin to come out gradually. I know I will make it. I can make it. Thank you very much.
This is music to my ears. You have no idea. When I hear someone like you speaking, I get excited because these are the key players, passionate and want to participate. This is what we're looking for. So you got the office, you got wisdom there, which I know is wonderful. I know JJ is there to support. She's wonderful. She was a representative from one ambassador in Ghana that's there supporting. So you got everything you need there, folks. With that video we just shared today, you know, I know it's getting a little long because we're going a little with the Q&As, but you know, take the time to listen to the information in there. I'm telling you, it will serve you well. Loretta, I really appreciate your feedback. Eric, thank you for your question, and Sir Chi and everybody else who contributed. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. I love this company. I love this business, and I love Africa. And I mean, I fell in love with Africa the moment we came in 9 years ago. So I wish you all the best. And anytime you need my support, I'll be there. Keep me posted. Lucy is an incredible leader, the most committed person I've ever seen in my life, the most organized person I've ever seen in my life. I don't think she throwaways anything she has learned and that she developed over the years. Very well organized. So in good hands. So I hope that you're all going to be making sure that your French team associates or some of you that are French will attend our event to make sure that we have a great bonding and synergy among all the leadership in both languages. So everybody have yourself a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lucy.
Bye-bye.